folks were shocked to literally watch 9 minutes go by and see the life of George Floyd snuffed out by Chauvin. Chauvin was convicted. Several other cops were convicted as well in state and federal court. That led to what I called a third Reconstruction, but that was a huge blowback. White America, white conservatives were angry with what took place. And so much has happened over the last 5 years. And as part of the focus, and remember, a lot of the DEI initiatives were born out of the murder of George Floyd. Target, based there in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they have been the target of a boycott by various entities. Nina Turner's group, Until Freedom with Tamika Mallory, and also Pastor Jamal Bryant. We see that Target has announced massive changes, dismal earnings, and they say that could be the case for the rest of the year. Foot traffic is down, and so guess what, folk? Stay the hell out of Target. Well, in conjunction with commemorating the murder of George Floyd 5 years ago, as well as the boycott against Target, Pastor Jamal Bryant said 50 churches across the country are going to be holding vigils and pickets at various Targets. Go to my iPad, Anthony, on Sunday at 12 p.m. At the Target in Conyers, Georgia. And then there are going to be other preachers at Target in Atlanta, Conyers, Hiram, Georgia. Also, it's going to be taking place in North Carolina, in Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Ohio, and others. And so this is taking place. The thing here, Mustafa, the energy obviously is a lot different this year than it has been in the last 4 years. There's been a massive, a clear and direct attack. White folks who were angry that young white people and Latinos and blacks and others were uniting. After this, they began to target this entire movement because they were scared. They targeted Black Lives Matter, tried to destroy the folks involved with that, gutted every effort. That was in 2021. 2022, everything was critical race theory, leading to Moms for Liberty winning races in the country, again, stoking white fear. 2023, it was attacking woke. 2024, it was attacking DEI. Everything that has happened in the wake of the death of George Floyd, you had white folks in the country saying we have to shut this down because they were the book bans, everything, because they were scared to death of a generation of Americans learning the true history of this country. And they said, no, we got to stop this now.
Yeah, not only learning the true history of this country, but finding an opportunity to come together in solidarity and to say that we want something different, that we want this country to evolve, that we want this country to actually live up to the words that it continues to say and share around the planet, but, never fully embrace. So it was that moment. And, we have to make sure that we continue to bring, the lessons that came out of after our dear brother was murdered. And we've got to make sure that we continue to bring those forward and continue to put a spotlight on exactly what's happening in relationship to Project 2025 and, this current administration and everything they're doing to try and demonize. So we've got that opportunity. I hope that the seed that was planted out of that tragedy finds ways to be watered and to continue to grow. But that means that we have to be truthful in our storytelling. We've got to continue to put it forward, and we've got to continue to push for accountability. And when we look at places like Target, when they are trying to take steps backwards, then, we've got to make sure that they understand that there is some pain that is associated with the decisions that they're making. And we got to highlight folks like Costco and others who are continuing to, at least on the surface, stand up and do the right thing.
And what you have going on here, I mean, you got this administration right now that is attacking anything with DEI, Raven. And what I have been saying is to all those white folks and Latinos and Asian Americans and others who are out there protesting, where you at?
No, that's real. I mean, we need intercommunal solidarity now more than ever. And I think when we're talking about Target, we're really seeing performative allyship, the consequences of performative allyship, that a lot of these organizations and companies that were giving us the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and we really care about diversity, equity, and inclusion in our organizations and throwing up those web pages weren't about the praxis of what they said they were about, right? We didn't see the pedagogy. Where's the there? Because the second it stopped being convenient to care about communities on the margins, there you are, right? I mean, we see a similar thing with Paramount, which is so deeply ironic. I think a lot of people don't know this. Paramount is the parent company for BET, the Black Entertainment Television Network. What? What do you mean you're preemptively foregoing your DEI initiatives and policies? You literally house the Black Entertainment Network. What's going on, right? So I feel like, when we're talking about this, we're really seeing people's true colors. And also, to Mustafa's point, I think we're seeing people who are really standing on business. We're seeing Ben and Jerry's, for example, really standing on business. I don't know if you all saw just a few days ago, Ben Cohen, one of the original co-founders of Ben and Jerry's, who also happens to be Jewish, was arrested for protesting the crisis in Gaza and for protesting these horrendous cuts to Medicaid that are being proposed, right? So I think there's a really major both and happening right now. And we're also seeing that we're leaning into our culture as a people, our culture of resistance as a people. When I think of this exciting moment of resistance and protest that is coming up as it pertains to Target, I think of the Black Power era. I think of the civil rights movement. This idea of consolidating our economic power is not a new one, but it is a powerful one. It is a very powerful one. That being said, I think I want to encourage people not to abandon the Black-owned businesses that still happen to be housed at Target, right? So maybe instead of going into Target and supporting those businesses, that looks like going directly to people's, websites and on their pages on Instagram and their TikTok shops or what have you, and supporting them that way. We're about us. We need to stay about us and to do so strategically.
To Raven's point, this is that video when they dragged the protesters out, including Ben Cohen, and so they roughed them up in a significant way. That was during the hearing for that crazy fool, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Matt?
Well, in like fashion as my earlier statement, please don't ever put me after Raven again, because I just got to steal half of what she said. Particularly, though, the use of the word performative, because, look, the reality is in this country, we tend to ascribe to corporations far more noble goals than they actually have. So if you remember, right after this happened, as she alluded to, all over social media, all you saw was, all Black profile pictures and all of these conversations about how all these corporations were going to do all of these things. Now, I didn't know what the future would hold, but I always had a suspicion that it was about making money. It wasn't about anything else. So when you get this orange man into office who's attacking all things DEI, I mean, so asinine that they're trying to not teach new Air Force cadets about the Tuskegee Airmen. You get to the point where you're seeing that this was never about anything other than performance. That's all it was. It was about performance incidental to making a dollar. So none of this is surprising. I'm glad that there's some backlash to Target. And I think when I read a few days ago that Target's revenues are down like 2.8%. I still don't know that that's really enough. I mean, it's a good thing for us to do that. It's a good thing to hold them to it. But I think what we need to learn from this is that performative allyship does not have a long runway. It's only going to be there as long as it's necessary to make the dollar or to leverage it or as a means to an end for whatever you want at that time. And what they wanted at that time was to not miss the national zeitgeist about a man being murdered on basically national TV. Everybody could see it, exactly what happened to him for 9 minutes. And that's why you have companies that people don't normally even care about their DEI stance coming out and saying that they're going to be, a supporter of DEI for whatever dog food. Like, this is not a company we really care about, and it's all performative. So none of this is surprising. It's just rolling back to where they were before. But if we don't hold them accountable and do something to say, no, there will be an economic consequence for you playing in our faces, then there will be no consequence for doing that. So hopefully this cascades into a greater consequence for any company that does that kind of performative allyship at a point like that.
Oh, trust me, there are some other companies that are on the list.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.